Just 1 second. I'm having a little trouble starting over here on Periscope and Twitter. Oh, boy, doesn't look like we're going to be able to do it over there today. Well, that's a bummer. Oh, well. No soup for you. No soup for you. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the Gospel of Truth channel. Glad to have you here. Excited to have you here. Very honored by your presence. I appreciate you being here. I know you've got limited time, and it always makes me, again, feel truly honored when you share time with me. And let's face it, we all have a limited amount of time. Doggone it. And of all the commodities in this world, time is the one that once spent, you can never get it back. Time is the one commodity that once spent, you never get it back. Thanks to April for being a moderator. I appreciate you very much. And once you spend time, you don't get it back. So the time you spend here is valuable. It's precious. And I appreciate you for giving me that gift. And you know, folks, we live in a world of extremes. We live in a world where they tell us, and it's a world of duality, really. And I think that's by design. And I think that's by the design, you know, of the fallen one that now rules over this planet. And it's all about duality. It's all about you have to be this or you have to be that. You have to do this or you have to do that. You've got to be part of this or you've got to be part of that. You got to be a Republican or a Democrat. You have to be a conservative or a liberal. You have to be pro-gun or anti-gun. You got to be for abortion or against abortion. You got to be Team Dean or you got to be Team Sam. It's got to be one way or the other. And I think even as we get into the realms of spirituality, we get into the same thing. You got to be a Christian or not a Christian. You got to be a left-hand path or a right-hand path or a middle path. You got to choose. We always seem to force ourselves to team up. You got to have a team. You got to have a club. You got to have a T-shirt. I don't understand that. And especially with people within the spiritual movement, within this alternative information movement of which we are a part. Why do we feel like we've got to team up? Why do we feel like there's got to be a club? Why do we feel like there's got to be a clique? Why do we feel like there's got to be T-shirts? Because there really doesn't. And can I suggest to you that we actually do ourselves a disservice? You know, I wrote a book called Serpents and Doves in the Garden of the Gods. And the Christ said, be as wise as a serpent and be as gentle as a dove. And when you are wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove, you're very integrated. You got both things working. You got both things at your access. If you get too far into your serpent, you're out of balance. You don't have connection with your dove. If you get too far into your dove, you're out of balance. You don't have access to your serpent. Like Tanakh Group says, what if we went 30 days without putting labels on each other? And it makes people mad. Jeff, what are you? And I resist your desire to label me as I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. No, I don't. I resist labels, and I won't let you label me as this or that. And let's talk specifically about paths, spiritual paths. And basically, we've got three. I have people that tell me I'm left-hand path. I have people that tell me I'm right-hand path. I have people that tell me, hey, Nigel, nice to see you again. It's been a minute. And I have people that tell me I'm middle path. Well, what does all that even really mean? Are we just spouting words that we don't have a true understanding of? Let's take a look at our good friend Wikipedia. In Western esotericism, that's what we are. We're Western esoterics. We're practicing spirituality within a Western cultural context, although we do have people all over the world that watch this program. So if you're not of Western esotericism, please give us a minute to just talk amongst ourselves. The left-hand path and the right-hand path is a dichotomy. It's a dichotomy. It's duality. Basically, when we're talking about the left-hand path, it usually gets down into black or white. Left-hand path, black magic. Right-hand path, white magic, quote unquote, as it goes. So many people are like, oh, I'm always white magic, right-hand magic. I would never do left-hand magic. Oh, some people, I'm left-hand magic. I don't even mess around with right-hand magic. Well, most of the people that are left-hand magic and are devoted to left-hand magic exclusively, you're probably not listening and you probably don't care what I have to say. But if you're right, if you say, oh, I would never use left-hand magic, I'm right-hand magic all the way. I would never use my intention to thwart or overcome the intention of another person. Never would I use my intention to overcome the intention of another entity. Really? Really? You wouldn't, huh? Well, how many of you that consider yourself right-hand path, how many of you would remove an entity from your body that was causing you pain? How many of you would remove an entity from a building that's causing you fear? How many of you would remove an entity from someone else's body that is causing pain? How many of you would send entities to other places? I got news for you. That's left-hand path. That's black magic. Because you are overriding the intention and the will of the entity to stay where it wants to stay. You're overriding its intention with your intention. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of left-hand / black magic. And my friends that might be on the left-hand path, have you ever done something just to help a brother out? Have you ever done something just to help a sister out? Have you ever done anything that's purely benevolent? Have you ever done anything that doesn't serve your own will? Or have you ever done anything that helps somebody out even to your loss? Guess what? You've practiced the right-hand path. You've practiced white magic. And then I've got my friends that say, oh, I don't do either of that. I stay right in the middle way. I don't go to the left. I don't go to the right. I stay right in the middle way. And the middle way is basically that Buddha way. And, the middle way is the way of meditation. It's the way of just being. It's the way of moderation between the extremes of sensual indulgence and self-mortification. I just stay right in the middle, Jeff. And, I'm striving to be in the middle way. And I reject the left-hand path. I reject the right-hand path. I'm just going to stay right here in the middle. Now, I'll grant you that if you stay in the middle path, that's probably going to be the most balanced way. However, if you just stay in the middle path, you're not going to make much of an impact on the world. Might I suggest to you that if you stay exclusively in the middle way, that might be a selfish way, because the middle way says, I'm not going to go to the right-hand path and do extreme acts of service to other people. I'm not going to go to the left-hand path and override the intentions of any other people or any other entities. I'm just going to stay right in the middle, and I'm going to mind my own business. Now, that's okay, I guess. However, isn't it possible that it's a little bit selfish? Isn't it possible that, I'm just going to stay in the middle path and chant the Om all day long? I'm just going to stay in the middle path and ponder my navel all day long. I'm not going to allow the suffering of my neighbor to take me out of the middle path. I'm not going to allow the suffering of the world to take me out of the middle path. I'm not going to allow the need to do some work and make a difference in this world take me out of the middle path. I'm just in the middle path. All I care about is me. Me. There's a mantra for you in the middle. Me. Of course, I'm being a little ridiculous, but sometimes I would suggest to you that in this life, it's appropriate to be in the middle path. Sometimes in this life, it's appropriate to be in the left-hand path. I guarantee you, if somebody comes up and starts trying to abduct your child, you'll go left-hand path in a New York minute, and if you don't, something's wrong with you. There's time to go right-hand path. There's time to go left-hand path. There's time to go middle path. There's time to be serpent. There's time to be dove. And by staying in the integrated serpent dove, by leveraging, accessing, manifesting, Unson says, is there not power in harnessing energy from both sides? Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Give that man a prize. If you follow the words of the Christ and be that serpent and dove, be wise as a serpent, be gentle as a dove, be subtle as a serpent, be gentle as a dove, you're in that place where you're integrated. And it's not just the middle path. It's not just, no, it's an integration. It's a knowing. It's a confidence. It is an empowering. It is an enablement. It's walking in an enablement. If you go severe middle path, you're walking the path of India, which says, stay in the middle path. If someone's suffering, let them suffer. It's their karma. If someone's doing something wrong, let them suffer. It's their karma. I am suggesting to you that you might want to remain in serpent dove integration to where you have access to the left, you have access to the right, you have access to the middle. You're not cutting yourself off. Oh, I'm left-hand path, so I cut myself up from middle. I cut myself off from right. I'm middle path, so I cut myself off from left. I cut myself off from right. I'm right path, so I cut myself off from middle. I cut myself off from left. The Christ kind of alluded to this when he talked about being lukewarm. Because you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. I'd rather you're hot, rather you're cold. I think what he means is he'd rather us be hot and cold. That we would have, would you rather live in a house that had no hot water? Or would you rather live in a house that had no cold water? Which one? Well, if it had hot water, I could always have a hot shower. But if it just had hot water, I could never have a cool drink. If it had cold water, I could have a nice cool drink, but I could never have a cup of tea. Or what if you had a house that just had lukewarm water? Then you'd get the worst of both worlds, wouldn't you? But the Christ said, be hot, be cold. Have it at your disposal. If you want hot tea, get you some hot tea. If you want cold tea, get you some cold tea. If you want a warm bath, get you some warm bath. All I'm saying is I'm suggesting that you consider, instead of picking one path, allow yourself to be open to all paths. Now, there are times in your life where you're going to be more on one path than on other paths. And those, I would suggest to you, are for times and seasons. Don't get so comfortable on your path that your path becomes a rut. Because a rut is nothing other than a grave with both ends knocked out. You don't want to be in a rut. You don't want to be in a grave. You want to be, you know, it's funny, you got that old saying, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. Keep yourself in that place where you're at the fork of three roads. I only have two hands, so three roads. Somebody's going to say, oh, Darty was doing a devilish hand signal. Stay at the place where you can stay at the place that when you come to the fork in the road, you can take it. If it's appropriate to take the middle path, take the middle path. If it's appropriate to take the left-hand path, and sometimes it is, take the left-hand path. If it's appropriate to take the right-hand path, and sometimes it is, take the right-hand path. Why limit yourself to one path? Raven Wolf says, if A doesn't work, have B and C available. I couldn't agree more. Don't let your path become a rut. A rut's nothing but a grave with both ends knocked out. Tannock Group says they're all appropriate. They are. They're all appropriate when they're appropriate. And may I say to you that sometimes the left-hand path is inappropriate? Nobody has a problem believing that. But might I suggest to you that if at times the left-hand path is inappropriate, then at times the right-hand path is inappropriate. And if at times the left-hand path is inappropriate and the right-hand path is inappropriate, there are times where the middle path is inappropriate as well. As Sandra D'Angelo says, it's all about discernment. It's all about knowing when, knowing where, and knowing how. Don't get locked in to one path. Don't shut yourself off to any path. Allow yourself the opportunities. Mother of Dragon says, Jeff, this whole path of unindoctrination has at times been so scary and painful. Your gentle insistence has been so encouraging and helpful. Well, Mother of Dragons, it's much safer and much less scary if you just sit on the porch. If you jump off the porch, run in the high grass with the big dogs, it's going to be a little more scary. But, Mother, it's also a lot more exciting. I don't believe in limiting my spiritual options. I don't believe in denying myself opportunities. I'll be like Raven Wolf. I will trust my intuition. Let it be the GPS of my soul, and my GPS is open to the path that best serves my intention at the moment of decision. Sometimes that's going to be the middle way. Sometimes that's going to be the left-hand path. Sometimes that's going to be the right-hand path. And only you know. And only you know if you know. And if you don't know, you know that you can know based upon what you know. That's why you've got to ask questions. That's why you've got to question answers. That's why you got to guide your own spirit. That's why you got to master your own ascension. That's why you've got to be your own guru. That's why, as Adam said, you got to follow your own path. I would agree that until we demand disclosure, we don't have a collective spiritual awakening. No, I wouldn't agree that. I don't care about disclosure. What is disclosure? Whose disclosure? If there's ever disclosure or not disclosure, really doesn't affect my spiritual path in the least. I don't get all wound up about disclosure. You know why? Because disclosure's outside my ability to make it happen. I can't directly affect whether there's going to be this thing called disclosure or not. And I certainly disagree that someone else's decision to disclose or not to disclose this, that, or the other cannot prevent a collective spiritual awakening. That's my take on that one. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Is gray the middle path? I would go with that analogy. We're all brought together for reasons, for purposes, all in the same game. My train always onward, upward, forward. Always look forward to meeting strangers at the crossroads, says Mr. Macklefester. That's good. I like that. I like that. If we knew our impact, our firm thoughts and beliefs had another dimensions and our life beyond this reality, we would change. That's powerful. That is powerful. Brian's funny. Is there not power in harnessing both energy from both sides? Yes. And there's power from harnessing energy from the middle way as well. Ellie says the middle way is sort of a cop-out. It can be. The left way can be a cop-out. The right way can be a cop-out. I think that if you limit yourself to one way, you might be copping out. You might not, but you're certainly opting out. Because if you're dedicated and limited to one way, then you're removing, if we continue our analogy, two ways. You got three arrows in your quiver. You pull one out, break it over your knee, throw it away. You pull another one out, break it over your knee, throw it away. You got one arrow left. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You got 3 jugs of water. Take one out, pour it out, throw it away. Take another one out, pour it out, throw it away. You only got one left. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why limit yourself to one path? Just a suggestion, just a thought, just an encouragement. And I think that more options are better than less options. And I think the ability to move in multiple paths is better than the ability to move in few. Seek, look, find. Leave the options open to help you. Leave the options open to help me. And why limit yourself to a single path? Thoughts to ponder. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is the Gospel Truth Channel. We appreciate your attendance. And I continue to be honored by your presence. I salute you, the Gospel Truth Army. And I encourage you to unindoctrinate yourself.